Maccadelic.
Vybz Films, Voice of the Streets.
Tdot Solutionsz, you already know.
Big 5, Director Huss, we in the building.
Boy Rodzilla, Pro League Film.
Nino Luey.
Marcus Lutz.
Nemesis, Gold Mine Media 1.
Jorden Todish, aka Premier Productions.
Matter Russian, I'm back.
I'm sitting next to the legend, the one and only creator of the Real Toronto DVD.
What you guys got planned for this summer and the upcoming years?
Work, you know what I'm saying? Gotta get these videos out. Various projects for me personally, you know what I'm saying? I got a couple short films that I wanna get out the way. Planning for Push 3 and just the music videos and traveling out, you know?
Yeah, Push is that's a legendary series in the city, so definitely being one of the first to do it, I definitely have to give you your flowers for that. Marcus, you also have a film that you premiered in theaters last year. I was happy to be in attendance to that. How was that?
It was pretty crazy. I didn't expect it to go off that crazy, but it was fun. Just wrote a film and made it, and just, yeah, people seem to like it.
What's everyone's first editing program? I think I started off with iMovie. You know,
our first was Movie Maker.
Movie Maker? That's what's up.
I started on DaVinci.
Yeah?
Yeah, I don't know, I just like the layout.
Your first program was DaVinci?
My first program was DaVinci, exactly. The first camera, it was free, and you get Black Magic, and DaVinci is the first thing. So, yeah, right?
That's right.
Yeah, it seems like, and then I actually bought the program and started, you know.
Okay, so show of hands, right now, who's premiere?
I'm not gonna lie, I'm there too.
You're there? Both?
I have it. What's that?
So who's on? So Final Cut. Final Cut. Okay.
Let me say something about Final Cut.
Final Cut.
How you guys do? The first thing I ever used to edit, I remember, was Final Cut, and I was under pressure, so I'm like, okay, cool. And I didn't realize everything I did needed to get processed. So I'm cutting something, like, oh, I made a mistake. Let me go back, process. I'm like, hold on a second. Let me try to fix that process.
Yeah.
I wasn't familiar with it, and I didn't know you could turn off the setting. Right, so I'm there for 4 or 5 hours. I'm not gonna lie, because of that whole back and forth, I actually stopped doing videos. I'm like, this is horrible. I'm like, why would anybody do this?
Yeah.
Then I got into, I think, Vegas, and then I realized you don't have to process. I mean, you could just cut. And then I got right back into the video world. But that's my little thing with Final Cut.
If you could go back in time, what's one piece of equipment that you felt was a waste of money?
Sandbags, never ever used those. Bought a bunch of them. A slider, bought it, never used it.
Yeah, you're right.
A crane, bought it, never used it.
You got the crane?
Yeah, like that. Yeah, never used it.
I never used any of those.
Yeah. What else? The FPV drone. Thought I was gonna get good at that. Didn't happen.
For me, I was very strategic. I really got what I felt like I needed.
Oh God.
You know what I'm saying?
Lucky you.
I don't think there's much. I had a slider, maybe a slider.
We all got a slider. Everybody got a slider. For no reason. Then we had gimbals come out now.
I think for me, I feel like I should have bought lighting a lot earlier. So a lot of the things I would do is buy nice lenses, but you really need lighting early on, right?
I feel like lighting is more important than your camera body or the actual class.
I started from scratch. It's just, I didn't know nothing. You know what I'm saying? I was just good at computers, I'm a computer engineer, but I had no experience in filming videos and quality and color control, and you know what I'm saying? I had no experience, so I had to learn as I go.
You being one of the earliest pioneers out of all of us, you didn't really have anyone to look at their videos and be like, okay, I could do this.
I big up Director X. All I had was Little X. That's all I used to watch. Magic Films, big up Magic Films, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, your style's legendary.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? He had equipment, he had everything. You know what I'm saying? So I try my best to keep up to his standard.
Before I started my video production, I was doing an internship at Face Films Studio. What do you guys feel is one of the best perks about being a director?
The best perks of being a director is I get to choose my own time. Yeah, I get to wake up whenever I want, edit whenever I want, be creative whenever I want. Set my own schedule.
Putting your own vision and twist into the project. People's reactions and their experience when they see the product is crazy. So
Nemesis, you were able to shoot a video with Vybz Kartel.
Oh yeah.
Like,
yeah.
How does that feel?
Yeah, no, that was dope. I was actually like, I wasn't expecting it, right? Because it was actually Valiant and Vybz Kartel, right? So I did a video for Valiant like 2 weeks before, right? And then they liked the video that I did, so they hit me back. They said that they got another video for me to do, so they just sent me a song. And I was in North Carolina in my hotel the day that I'm going back to Toronto. They sent me the song and they said, oh, this is the first time I actually had like advance notice. All of their videos are like the next day, 24 hours. But this was like, yo, we have this song. They sent me the song and I was listening to it. And then I heard Vybz' voice. I was like, yeah, right. This is not Vybz, because they never told me who it was, right? I was like, oh shit. And then I got super amped. I couldn't wait to get back on the plane. And then, yeah, it was dope. And then I did that video when I got back. DJ Power hit me up. He's like, yo, I got this Vybz Kartel video that I want you to do. And I'm like, I got the song, I'm already doing it. He sent me the song, it was another song. So now I'm doing 2 Vybz Kartel videos within like 2 weeks.
Rodzilla to the left. How does it feel to have a music video with 1 billion views?
Is it up there now? Yeah.
Pretty sure it's up there.
It's close. It's up there.
Who is that for?
Okay, everybody. There's a video I did in 2017 or 16 for Sidhu Musola. Yeah, right. So it was so high. Like that's the video that started his career to jumpstart. How it felt at the time, it was glorious because everybody and their mamas hitting me up trying to like replicate that, right? So like just like make me that way. I was like, sure, I'll try my best, right? After a few years, that kind of faded. I don't really think on it too much anymore, but I feel like no matter what, that was just a legendary moment for the city, for me, and for Muso.
Mac, how do you get into music videos?
I was always into film. I was like super into movies and stuff, but I was more into like just rap in general. And I knew I wanted to do something with rap, but I didn't want to be the fucking rapper. So I started with a blog page, right? And we started getting attention and like this is 2015, it was called Basement. We did interviews with Conway the Machine. We did Migos. And it led me to the opportunity of shooting the 456 video through the blog, right? And they were gonna get another director to do it. And I kind of was like, yo, let's do this, you know? And that's how, that kind of sparked my interest, you know? I got hooked off that one, you know, just the success from it and everything. Like I was like, oh fuck, like here we go. You know, I was too deep in at that point.
How did you get your name?
I want to say 2012, Instagram starting. My friends were like, what are you going to start your name? And Mac Miller dropped a mixtape at the time called Maccadelic. And they started just calling me that. And I was very into psychedelics at the time, so it just made sense. And yeah, fucking stuck, you know? And then, yeah, it just been like that since.
That's what's up. So
yeah.
It's amazing that all of us here are entrepreneurs in one form. But Nino, what you have been able to do in the last few years with your agency is impressive.
We always needed videos and we always needed girls. We always needed models. So I would just tap in with the girls that I know. I'm like, yo, I can get you paid for this.
What would you say is the biggest challenge?
I have to make sure these like girls are trustworthy. Like that's the biggest thing. Like a lot of artists like don't know if they can trust a girl.
Has anyone ever lost a piece of equipment on set?
Reflectors. I've brought reflectors like this fucking big to shoots and I put it down in some random hood somewhere I've been and I leave it there and I get mad every time.
Yo, works, you already know we lost a couple lights, you know what I'm saying? It's just
bro, so annoying.
Stuff get left behind, you know what I'm saying? The shoot is turn up.
I think I actually left my whole camera unit behind one time when I shot for Young Noble. I think from the Outlaws. So I left my whole camera there, but they brought it back to me. I was lucky.
Tell us about how you came up, how you started.
I used to rap when I was young, so like, but like when you're rapping, you're like, yo, what's the next level? I took like my mom's Sony camcorder and I took her tripod and I brought it downtown, shot a video down there, edited by myself, Sony Vegas. That was the thing back then, right? I used Sony Vegas, edited it up. It was either The Crook or Dundas Dollar. One of them came to me first based off just like something I might have posted on Facebook. I just did it for myself once and then from there everyone's like, yo, you should do videos. It was just for fun, honestly. I was just shooting a lot of videos for my friends and I had a studio. So I was doing recording, mixing and mastering prior to even picking up a camera, right? So it's like, it all kind of fell hand in hand. Like, we've seen music, it's like itself has evolved so much since we've all started doing this thing. Music wasn't on DSPs back then, so when we're releasing music, like shout out Face Films, I used to look at Face Films, so you're seeing him. The only videos growing up in Toronto, you're watching a lot of like YouTube music videos. That was the only way we could consume music from local artists, right? When I was young, I was watching the real Toronto, all the Face Films, all you guys really put it in the limelight for us to start. But when I started, the only thing is kind of like, I feel like Toronto was quiet for a while prior to me like picking up a camera, you know?
So I got a question for you. What do you think is the best way to brand yourself?
A lot of people think that everything has to be perfect. You gotta spam the algorithm, and people always talk about algorithms. You gotta make your own wave. Even like right now, as an example, it would be individual pieces for everybody, and then it'd be a group content, and then it'll be the behind the scenes, and you just gotta keep posting. And then once you create your own algorithm, then that perfect branding will soon come. Because for me, with the health stuff and the video stuff, I just got my first logo last week, and I've been shooting, right? So it comes with patience and time. So yeah, just keep posting, and then your brand will soon eventually build up.
I would just say take every job you can, even if you're not ready for it, because it'll force you into a position to learn how to do it. Like that's what I did. I threw myself to the wolves, bro, like early, like, you know, and sometimes the projects were shit, and there was bad repercussions, you know what I mean? But along the way, you had to learn and develop a style, and it just comes with time. And I just say just take everything you can. And
what are some of the differences when you were coming up?
It wasn't that divided as it is right now. Like, you don't know who's connected to who. Like, there's not one guy that can bring you into the area. The area is small. Everybody's scattered everywhere. The connections are different. And people are not outside like that, right?
My first camera was a Canon T3i.
Mine was a Sony NEX5.
Mine was a Sony A6300.
I had the Canon 7D Mark II.
Oh, that's
Ricks.
Well, my first camera, it was a mini DV tape camera. I believe it was like Sony DC-120.
I had that too.
That's crazy that you know what that is. But I remember my cousin Nicole got it for me on her eBay account because my mom was not trying to like, they're Jamaican, so their like email address, like hell no.
My first camera, I think it was the flip camera. Do you guys remember those? You would pop out the USB and just plug the whole camera into the computer.
If you guys remember Certified Cash, like 2009, 2000 Certified Cash. It's a funny story now, but we ran into a store for our first camera, and I think it was a Canon T2i. Yeah, my personal first one was a T3i.
Or you already know me. My first camera was Sony Ericsson cell phone. In the hood, you know what I'm saying?
We all started with the cell phone, bro. Okay.
I had to learn how to convert the files to the computer and edit it.
Canon T2i. Yeah.
Canon T2i.
Yeah, I had a T3i too. This first camera.
What's a crazy experience that you've had at a set? Or even a crazy...
Police chases.
Like on set, live?
On set,
Yeah. GG.
That's crazy. You're right as fuck right there. You know what I'm saying? You've been through that.
Tell the story about how you got Max B to do your video audio tag.
We're very close with his mom, and you know, so I would talk to him on the phone while he's in jail, and you know what I'm saying? So
Did you know him like prior to getting locked up? Or this all started once?
Well, kind of, because I kind of rock with the whole Riot Squad, Money Marlowe, and you know what I'm saying? Like, there's a whole, you know, we had a whole thing going on, you know what I'm saying?
Did you get to link with Chinks when he came down to the city?
Yeah, obviously, Chinks came down for my birthday, you know. Even after my birthday, every year, he heals me up, you know what I'm saying? So it was just a big link, you know what I'm saying? And he just liked the movement I was doing at that time, you know? The HODC holla. He just did it out of love, you know what I'm saying?
Jordan, how did you develop your style?
So for the first, 4 or 5 years, I would always use a gimbal. I would never take my camera off of it. And then after a while, I was just getting bored of using a gimbal. And some people I knew would shoot with a tripod all the time. And after I started using a tripod more and more often, it just made me focus on the frame more often, and care about the lighting and the props and the symmetry. So yeah, like pretty much every video I shoot now, I try to use a tripod. And you know, just put a little like keyframing, like zooming in or zooming out. Even sometimes just leave it static. But yeah, it's like become like a signature of mine, just doing tripod shots.
Nino, I think it was last summer I was chopping it up with you, and you're telling me about an idea that you had, which was based on your story.
I'm from Latin America. I'm from Guatemala, Nicaragua, around them countries. As soon as my mother found out she was pregnant with me, she did the whole getting on top of trains, traveling, swimming across rivers, like the whole walk. And she went through a lot to get me here, you know what I'm saying? So if I tell the story, I feel like half of you wouldn't even believe me, you know what I'm saying? So the idea was film my mother telling the story and then portray her story as a little girl getting pregnant, whatever, and then coming to America. Because once we came to the States, we crossed from Mexico to Texas. She ended up getting on a flight to Florida. And then from there, I guess like my dad, he's always been on the run. He was a gunman when he was little. So he was always on the run. So we ended up coming to Canada. And then we got refugee here, got my permanent residence. The first video I ever seen was in Ja Rule coming out of some fucking hot tub talking about every little, you know what I mean, just rapping. And I was like, I loved it. And then I'm like, yo, I know I'm not gonna be a rapper, but I know I want my place in music. And then when I got to Toronto, I made the decision to come here solely to do videos. And within a year, I met Pressa, and then you guys know the rest of the story. But yeah, that was my story. So it's my mom being able to tell the story and then film it from her perspective, and then you'll get it, you know?
How do you do all those crazy effects on your videos?
I don't know. Like a lot of them are practical. Like a lot of the things for my videos, somebody was like asking me this the other day too. There's this like book, right? This Rick Rubin book. I don't know if any of y'all have read it, but it's pretty damn good. It's like really comforting for like a creative mind. And what he was saying was like, yo, you can go to like Home Depot, right? And you have a house and you can paint your house, but you're limited to all the colors that are in Home Depot. And there's a lot of colors there, but he's saying like he goes outside and gets inspired by the color of like a tree that's just almost dead. That's like a unique color that they might not have there. So for me, like I kind of take a step back from the video and I'm like, I want to see this, but like, I don't know how to do it in After Effects, but it would be sick if there was like spinning mannequin heads floating around in the video. And then I'm like, wait, why don't I just go buy a mannequin, hang it on fishing wire, put a green Bristol board up in my room and just spin it around and then put it back in. And
that's
then
dope.
Like,
that's how you do the effects.
So that's what's up.
oh yeah, hey, that's not how I do it. Nobody copied that shit.
That's a secret.
Windows, I used Windows a lot. Like I've been making videos since like 2007 is when I started on Windows Movie Maker, and like I just always used to be scared to ask for like new equipment. So I remember I got a MacBook and I was like, oh, it's up. It was like 2013, and I was using Final Cut Pro 7, and I was like, oh, this is crazy. Like my footage was actually playing back smooth. And I was like, nah. And then, yeah, I just been Mac ever since. The film that I made was about my life. Growing up. It's kind of a coming of age story. Mostly everything in that film is real. Just, you know, growing up, not feeling like I ever fit in anywhere with the Black community, and then the white community, like you're still Black, you know what I mean? So it's like you kind of feel like, yo, who am I in this world? You know, like I grew up interested in like skateboarding and rock music and used to get made fun of for that. And then I'd go hang out with people that like that, and then they'd make fun of me for being Black. So I was like, yo, what the hell? So then like I just kind of made this movie about that experience, because I was like, I bet you somebody else probably feels like that. And turned out like a lot of, you know, young Black kids feel that way. Like I have really good friends, And I was just like telling them about it. And then I was like, yeah, I need actors. And like, oh yeah, we'll do it. And I was like, oh, okay. And I was like, yeah, I need a producer. And then my one was like, oh, I'll do it. And then I was like, oh, like I need extras. I need this dude to be an employee at like the pizza restaurant. And like, he's sitting right there. Like, he's like, oh yeah, I'll do it. So everybody was just down to do it. And then I just paid for everything myself. I was very blessed. Like the music video money, I just put it right back into that. And yeah, we shot in the course of 7 days. And that was like a pretty wild decision. I remember I thought I was a genius. I was like, yo, because the tension in the movie rises towards the end. I was like, yo, if I make these actors like act every day, they're going to be like hella mad at the end of it. And then like they can actually cry. But then they just ended up like mad.
Process is crazy, like a lot of long days, long nights. You know what I'm saying? Preparation, trying to organize it is one of the hardest things. Getting everybody to be at one place at the same time on the same day and like actually execute the plan for the day. You know what I'm saying? It was dope. It took Push, for example, it took a while. Like, I'm sure like you had a 7-day film schedule, right?
Yeah.
Pretty much. Yeah, we didn't like kind of had a schedule, but it's just like one day one out of the 4 main characters are not available. Now we got to reschedule, right? So it took a lot of time to like get everybody, and I'm working with females too, right? So like it took a good 6 to 8 months to knock it out. And it was just my patience that actually just made it pull through, you know, because sometimes you might start a project and then it's like you're halfway in and it's not feeling like it's gonna be a wrap, right? But for me, I didn't celebrate till we're done. Even though we started, everybody's like, yeah, we're doing this. I'm like, no, it's not done yet. You know what I'm saying? So once it was done, then that's when I was actually satisfied. It was dope. Like I filmed one scene in Mexico, and a lot of it was like Jorden, especially when it comes to film. Well, I'm just relating that to like the static shots. I filmed the entire first 3 parts of Push on a gimbal. Then I realized like, I could have just put it on a fucking tripod. It's a movie, it's not a music video, right? So but I was just in the zone of coming from music videos, right? So that's one thing that I realized that I learned from going into the next 2 episodes after. And then the story's based off of 4 females, right? I kind of wanted to feed my following as far as like, I would say like the urban scene, right? Like on some street shit. But I kind of wanted to use females instead of, you know what I'm saying? So that was my little twist that I wanted to put to it. And then I got a new comedy film called Reverse That. And you actually premiered it at your film festival. It's still not out yet publicly, but I'm planning on doing something with that too.
What do you think the Toronto music scene needs?
I hear a lot of good music coming out. I think there's so much of the same stuff coming out that we might need a bit of something different to shake up the scene a little bit and to help bring awareness and light back on everyone else. And I think better energy as well. Like I talk about this a lot with other people. Like me growing up in Toronto, like I don't know how kids grow up nowadays, but we grew up like dancing was a big thing in my like when I was growing up in Toronto. Like I like the music and the energy I'm getting from the young boys, but at the same time, like I don't feel like this is welcoming energy. I want to hear some music that I could actually like turn up to, not like turn up based off of the hype. Like turn up because this is actually like, oh shit. Like let's bring this to Africa. Let's bring this elsewhere and see if they're gonna rock with it. Not based off polys. Even when I was with Chief Keef, like he was like, I was supposed to shoot their video. I ended up just doing paintball. I did a video for Ball Out and Tato, but I think a big thing over there is like they have like a lot of principles and values towards life that like we kind of like might lack over here a bit. Not that we imitate their culture exactly and whatever, there's inspiration, whatever the case might be, but at the same time, you have to look over there and be like, yo, they had a long time to get where they are. So things can't just move that fast. It has to go and build a little, you know, before even, you know, and people just have to be themselves too and be comfortable in their own skin.
Outside of the obvious, we need better vibes, like positive vibes. I think like that's one specific thing is that we have to realize that we're the pioneer and work toward, you know what I'm saying? Like
setting the trends.
Yeah, setting the trends. We probably won't be the ones doing the enjoying. We got to do the ones setting it up, right? It's like we're building Wonderland.
Yeah,
You feel me? It's not there yet. We're building it. You feel me? So it's like you're gonna hop on the ride and the thing ain't even built yet. Something's probably gonna go wrong. You feel me? So we got to build it, and whoever gets to enjoy it gets to enjoy it. You feel me? But
I don't even want to interrupt you with that. But like shit, anyone that knows me, I talk about this all the time. But like with that being said, a lot of us are immigrants' children. So a lot of us are probably third, fourth, like shit. There might even be like, if that, a 6th generation Canadian. But you're looking at places where there's 100 generations in. It's built a lot more in. So you know what I mean? Like, yeah, it's a lot more. So like, we got to be more constructive over here. We got to actually develop and build stuff a lot more too over here. So like to help our economy as well.
When you see collaborations right now, people are basing songs off politics. So I'm siding with this team because they hate that team. You know what I mean? So purposeful collaborations. To be honest, that's it right there. If we can sow that seed, then it's gonna be booming.
You gotta focus on the business side of things. You know what I'm saying? You gotta register your music. You gotta, a lot of artists, they're just putting out YouTube music and it's going nowhere. You know what I'm saying? They're just trying to get views. Like, you gotta register your music.
I just think we just need more unity, straight up. Too much hating, killing. This block hates that block. At the end of the day, we're all people, and I don't know. It goes so far back, like I'm not one to talk about it, but just working with people and like getting close with these guys and shit, it just, I feel like more unity, because I'm close to 2 guys that hate each other, but they're both awesome people, right? So I don't know, bro. That's what I just see. Like if we put a lot of shit aside and came together, like you said, collaborations.
I mean, other than what they've already mentioned, I agree with that as well. But something else is just putting our best foot forward in every video. I know it can get repetitive at times, and sometimes we slack, but I think if everyone just put in more effort, it could look better for the city. And then also just being more creative. A lot of us shoot a lot of videos, so sometimes we can lack ideas, but if we all just, took that extra hour for that pre-production, I think we can make much better videos.
A lot of guys that trying to do autotune, but they don't really have the rhythm or the voice or they can't sing, right? So there's like Casper, Hood Baby Papa. I like those guys actually do it and it sounds sick, burning bands and stuff. But when you turn it up too much, I just feel like, first of all, you're less recognizable. So if I hear like the first, like, it's just me, I don't know, it's just my opinion. But if you hear the first few seconds, I turn it off right away if it just sounds like anything else. So sometimes this autotune shit might be a killer for you. I mean, if you can't really sing and stuff like that, autotune, it's less chance that you blow up because we can't even hear your real voice. So I think the autotune, guys that should do it are the guys that really could sing and stuff like that. They really have it. It just, when you try to the autotune drowns you, it's not going to help you. That's just my opinion.
The era that I worked in was super like on it, creative, like the sound was there. Right now, I don't know, I can't really like say we're standing out too tough how we were like back in the day. But I don't know what it needs right now. I would say unity for sure.
Unity is definitely really important. I think if you like, if your reference point is a lot of artists that have gotten really big, the group aspect is like super important. If you look back, like you have acts like Odd Future or something, it's like 20 of them. And the fact that it was 20 of them doing it together their own way, they weren't trying to be LA. They weren't trying to be like Hawthorne, California. They were just trying to be themselves. And because they did it as a group, it worked. I think for Toronto, a lot of artists, I get so much music and it sounds like so similar and stuff. And I think authenticity is something that a lot of people are scared of, especially in Toronto. I think like the culture that we have here, it hasn't been around long enough for people to feel comfortable in their own skin. And they just end up doing, whatever is cool or whatever sounds cool. But I think that as a community, we all have to start getting a little bit more strict about what we hear and not supporting it. If it's shit, it's shit. Like I've heard songs that like people are telling me are hits and like it's ass. Like, I'm not going to name names, but like some of the stuff is just ass. And like, it's only cool because we live here. You know what I mean? But like, I've traveled to America. I've traveled to America so many times. And like, I've worked with like, I've had the pleasure to work with such big international like artists. And
what are some of those names?
I'm not gonna like start glazing right now, but like I've just met like a lot of like people, and I've played them a lot of music. I've been in the studio and they're like, oh, you're from Toronto. And like, I've played them some music and they're like, bro, what the hell is this? And it's music that like collectively, everybody in this room has been like, this is hard. Like, you know what I mean? And it's like, it's not hard. Like, we have to start being more realistic. And I think that people need to be more authentic so that their reference point, where they're drawing from, makes great art and like intelligent art. You know, like a lot of the new people now that are blowing up in America, the new underground scene, their reference points are just like so strong. And it's like our reference points is just like whatever that neighborhood did, so we're gonna do it. But it's like if we just like stop capping and like listen to like, I don't know, like a Stevie Wonder record or like the Smiths record or something, and like actual like music that like we can't argue is really good, and pull reference from, you know, things that they did and put it into our stuff, I think that we will go a lot further.
That's what's up. Nemesis, I want to hear what you got.
Super real. Yeah, that was dope. Super real. I like that. Super real. I like that, bro. Right. One thing I like to see is like some versatility in the music, like different kinds of songs. You know what I'm saying? Like, for example, like DMX had Slippin', or like Tupac, Dear Mama. You know, like songs about things, you know what I'm saying?
Like bro said those because people are scared. You do a song like that out here, like, man, what's that? What he did?
Yeah,
sure, like that. Forget that.
Even that too, because it doesn't generate the views.
If people appreciated different types of music, we would make different types of music. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Because we know we're not gonna get laughed at, right? Like, but if we know in Toronto only one thing that's accepted, so like everybody's gonna make that one thing.
Yeah, and like even like to add to like what I was saying before, like there's a recent like thing that happened. I don't know if you guys heard like that Tommy Richmond song that like went #1, but it sounds like so avant-garde, like the $1 Million Baby song. Like, yeah. And like I know Tommy personally, and like I got the opportunity to like be around him before he was like, you know, really blowing up. And it's like one thing that American artists do is they don't shy away from what they're trying to do. So it's like, if he made that song and he lived here and like made that song, somebody might be like, you know, yeah, okay, forget it. But like he's been making music that sounds like that for so long, like for years, and it finally just worked. And he's like at a place that like I haven't seen anybody from here go.
I remember like coming up in the game 2013, Solutionsz was a huge inspiration for me because we were just going back and forth dropping videos. Like I would drop something and then he would drop something out and would just blow whatever I had out of the water. His camera equipment was just another level up. It was almost like if you remember playing Pokemon and then you're Ash, but then every time you go up against Gary, he's always just like one up on you. That's what it was like throughout the years, like with Solutionsz. But throughout the years, we're always cool. We're always within the same circle. But I definitely have respect for you for being able to push me, you know, and keeping the motivation, because it was like, okay, yo, I got to make sure that I'm keeping up with this guy who's really the top dog. So
it's crazy because when you saying that at the same time when you were always dropping, you were already ahead of the game because you had the animation. Like that was one of the first things I seen from you, and I'm like,
After Effects.
This guy's gonna be a problem, bro. Even with that being said, too, I think the first time I seen a Pro League film, I think it might have been a Robin Banks video I seen.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yo, this guy's a problem too. Like,
that came a little bit after.
Seeing you guys,
I remember y'all wore.
Yeah, that was the first
you guys.
Yeah, like that had like, so that kept like energy for me. I'm like, yo. And I'm always like, you guys, anyone that knows me, I've always been that guy like, yo, the next generation's coming, bro. We gotta keep up. If you don't, like, so that kept me going, you know?
Yeah, even speaking of like, you know, the early Pro League films, one thing that's interesting, like a lot of us were I'm pretty sure most of us would have a stabilizer, a gimbal of some sort. Maybe not now, but at some point you did. But with Pro League films coming up, I remember like before stabilizers were common, we were using the OGs where you have to manually balance the stabilizer with weights. There was no electronics. No glide cam. I could never get mine to work. He had glide cam, you got it to work. I could never get mine to work. Say that again?
I think I paid like $1,200. That's a piece of equipment I never used because
I couldn't get mine to work.
I used to see him killing it. Die Fire and Shot by Dola, and I never could figure that out.
Yo, Die Fire.
Die Fire and Shot by
Shout out
Dola.
Die Fire.
Yeah. What happened to those guys?
Rod were crazy with the stabilizer part. The black
Using my neck.
Yeah, I did that too with the strap.
Big shout out to Die Fire.
In this room right now, like we may not realize it until later, but the impact and the influence that all of us collectively have had on the city is more than I could explain in words.